Hey everybody, this is Dominic DeAngelo of SEScoops.com, and it is TNA Rebellion is on the precipice coming up. It's April 20th, and Hammerstone will be taking on Josh Alexander. Alexander versus Alexander. Hammer, dude, you're one of my favorite interviews. I always enjoy talking with you. Good to speak with you again, man.
Happy to be doing it.
Thanks, man. So yeah, like talk about just starting off with Josh Alexander in TNA. It's basically this is the rubber match here coming up, and you got already cultivated a great feud going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's what better way to start than to jump into the deep end, right, and swim with the sharks. I came into TNA making the statement that I am a shark, and it's hunting season, and they put me in there with the very best, Josh Alexander. He squeaked one out at Hard to Kill. Got to applaud him for it, but hey, I signed the contract, got myself as part of this company, and I whooped its butt at Sacrifice. So hey, we're 1-1. He wants the rubber match. It's going down at Rebellion. I know the fans can't wait to see this match. I can't wait to get my hands on Josh and prove once and for all that I'm the new top dog here in TNA.
Well, the great thing is too is like you've had some really great rivals in the past, obviously, and it seems like you and Alexander complement one another very well in the ring. And do you kind of feel that vibe going into TNA? And like, man, I bet that like kind of really boosts your like enthusiasm to be there too in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean the thing was like, yeah, you put me in there with Josh. It's an incredible mix of styles. There's something to be said for ring chemistry, but just looking at the landscape of the entire roster, there's so many potential first time matchups. So fans should not only be looking forward to Rebellion and to see what me and Josh are going to do because we're going to step it up a notch. We're going to take it up a level. I can promise you that, but there's still so many first time matchups. There's so many first time things to look forward. And I'm just scratching the surface of what I'm going to do with this company.
100%. I did want to talk. I thought it was cool too. When you did become a free agent, you put on a compelling video that, and like, it's always something that's talent should be doing nowadays is like just promoting themselves and getting. And you're one of the big proponents of that. I feel like when you have that opportunity and stuff like that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that time when you were a free agent. How was that for you? And did you like receive some like advice during that time of maybe how to go about it or what to do? Because it's like your first big venture into free agency at that moment in time.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends, a lot of mentors, who I kind of touched base with, got advice from. But at the end of the day, like I actually got a lot of advice that I kind of ended up shutting out and listening to what I thought and what I knew. Because the thing is, I have spent many years doing other things in this industry, and I got to a point where, I wasn't necessarily so happy with where I was at, what I was doing with what my future looked like. And so I was taking a step to see what do I really want out of this. And TNA so far has shown that they're the perfect fit. I had a couple things I was really looking for, and like so far, like I couldn't be happier. And so, you know, I knew I was in a good position. I knew I was in a position where it's like I have cultivated, some level of respect and, you know, uh, whatever, it's a certain standing in this business, and I did have, some contact from multiple companies. But like I said, there were certain things I wanted, and it's like, look at TNA on night one. I was in a pay-per-view match, 20 minutes with one of their very top wrestlers, showcasing what I could do. There's a lot of people in a lot of companies who in the last year haven't been on TV for a total of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, TNA has shown me a certain level of respect, and I just can't wait to show them that I was worth it.
Was that the tipping point for you to sign with TNA, or what ultimately made that decision, or were there several factors that came into play for you?
Well, at Hard to Kill, we hadn't come to an agreement yet. At Hard to Kill, as for that night, was just an agreement to do that night.
Right.
But after that experience, being in that locker room, you know, um, internet rumors or dirt sheets can say whatever they want to say, but at the end of the day, like that locker room is full of like extremely hardworking people who are very positive, who are all going out there and busting their ass to try to put on great wrestling. And it's like to see that hunger and to see that, like it's inspiring. But not only that, to have a guy like myself who's an outsider, who's not part of the company, to walk in and say, hey, I'm taking a spot on your pay-per-view. and no one's like, who the hell is this guy? Everyone's just respectful, trying to make me feel like part of the team. That's a really great experience. And there's a lot of places where it's not so much that way. You show up and you're kind of walking on eggshells, and you're making sure you don't piss the wrong person off, or, oh, I didn't shake this guy's hand, so now I'm in trouble with someone I don't even know.
Yeah.
There's none of that. And then following the pay-per-view, just to see, like, wow, the level of outreach that match got, like, thousands of new followers overnight. People, as much as it's a kick to my ego, there's so many people going, wow, I've never seen this Hammerstone guy, but he was incredible. And it's like, dang, like, it sucks that you never saw me, but it's really incredible that TNA was able to show me to these people. And from that point on, I knew, like, I do not want this to be the only time I wrestle for this company. I want to figure out how we're going to make this a long-term situation.
That's great. And yeah, you mentioned the locker room and everything like that. From a creative standpoint, has being in the TNA locker room, has that kind of charged up any ideas for you creatively and what you want to do a little bit more to showcase yourself as a rising star?
I mean, I think you can see that already taking form and shaping itself with what I've done thus far, and this feud with Josh Alexander. I mean, he brought out a certain level of attitude out of me
Yeah.
that that's I've kind of been maybe on autopilot, maybe on cruise control for a little while, and getting in a new place, realizing I gotta shake things up, ruffle some feathers, maybe steal some headgear, and take what's mine. You know what I'm saying? So it's already inspired this whole new fire in me, this whole new set of ideas, this new way I want to present myself, and, like, the gears are constantly turning, and I have a feeling that the best stuff I've done in wrestling is yet to come.
Absolutely. And like you were the face of the previous company you were with. And I think now being a big player in TNA, has that kind of reinvigorated you in a certain way too, where it's like, oh, this is a good challenge and I want to get back to where that, to that level of like being a face of a promotion like TNA that has a great history too.
Listen, there's no time in wrestling where I've ever shown up and just wanted to get paid and have a match and go home. Every
Right.
place I go, I want to get to the top. I want to conquer. That's my goal. That's my mission statement from day one. That being said, the ladder is steeper here. There's a tougher hill to climb. There's a lot of extremely talented people who have been there longer than me, who have earned their place. And quite frankly, like, I'm gonna I have my work cut out for me. But that being said, like, I'm not deterred, I'm not intimidated. Um, you know, I have a feeling if we have this same conversation this time next year, we'll be talking about myself being the face of TNA.
Hey, oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, what do you think about something that's kind of a neat aspect always with TNA is the knockouts division and the talent that they have there from Jordan Grace and you name it. There's just like they really set the bar for women's wrestling in a lot of ways for pro wrestling. What do you think of that implementation and just being kind of a part of that associated with that in TNA?
It's incredible. This is the first time I've been with a company that really put such an emphasis on the women's division. And sometimes I get it; it's harder in wrestling, but that's something that, despite the challenges, despite whatever hurdles there may be, TNA has consistently put a huge emphasis on it, and it speaks for itself. There's nobody's watching TNA and saying, "Oh, the ladies' match is the bathroom break." Like, a
Right.
lot of times, the ladies' match is the must-see match. And we have a stacked roster not only in the men's division but in the women's division as well. So it just goes to show that, like, it's really cool sitting in the back and watching the shows and feeling like a fan for the entire time as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I wrestle my match, and then I don't go to the back and change. I go to the back and take a seat so I can watch the monitor.
Yeah, hell yeah. Who have you really connected with backstage at TNA? Who's you've really kind of bonded with that you've never really met before coming to the company?
You know what? As for now, I'm kind of keeping to myself. I'm kind
Lone
of I'm
Wolf.
kind of I'm kind of I don't want to make too many friends, because it's not it's not written who I'm gonna have to get in there with and who's gonna get in my way on my way to the championship. So I'm more scoping out the competition than I am on my way to make a lot of friends right now.
Making buddies. It ain't show friends, it's show business. Um, how about okay from a talent perspective then? Somebody that kind of similarly came in at the same time almost as you was Mustafa Ali. What do you think of his work and what he's done so far? Obviously, he's the X Division champ and everything like that, but yeah, what do you think of him so far?
That's an interesting situation because there's guys like Mustafa in the sense that they're known for having incredible matches. But then when you take a guy like him and you give him, the canvas to paint a picture with the character work that he's done,
Yeah.
that's when you take somebody to another level and you create another, a whole nother dimension to what they're doing in professional wrestling. And I think that's what I like in wrestling because as much as we all want to go out there and have the 5-star match and be told like, oh wow, this was awesome or fight forever or whatever the hell, what brings people back is a connection and a story, and he's been able to do that. And I know that I, for one, am watching Rebellion and very much looking forward to Jake something versus Mustafa Ali because everything that has transpired over the last couple of weeks has built a story that for me is can't miss, and I want to see what happens when Jake something finally gets his hands on Mustafa Ali.
Well, that's another guy is Jake something, and like I've seen on social media too, is people being like, "Oh, we got to see Hammer versus Jake something," and that kind of those two styles, you two, the size of you guys too, it's like it's Titans clashing kind of thing. Are you pretty intrigued by that aspect too?
There's a couple of matches that I know are an inevitability. And when you talk about, who I'm making friends with, it's like, yeah, a guy like Jake something, he'd be a good friend. But I know that it's just an inevitability before me and him are locking horns in that ring. And there's a couple guys like that there who I'm like, it's just a matter of time. And I can't wait for that day. And it's going to be awesome when we get there.
You're making the notes. You're like, oh, that's another one right there. um, cool. Some other guys. I always ask this when I do TNA interviews and stuff like that. Is working with people like a Tommy Dreamer or a Lance Storm or Gail Kim backstage. They're such smart minds for the business, and obviously they have a legacy in the business too. How has that kind of interaction and stuff been working with them backstage?
Man, like that's in a lot of ways that's been my favorite part just because a lot of the downfall of a lot of wrestling companies is the fact that the vision is not crystal clear. What the picture they're trying to paint isn't really communicated very well, and they're pretty much like the talent is kind of going out there and doing whatever they want, and it's like a lot of the times that can give you cool wrestling matches, but a very uncohesive show without a direction. And the I'll just say, as far as like communicating with ideas and creative and all the agenting back there, like the producing, like everything has been top notch. And I feel like they've really helped bring the Hammerstone character to life. And it's just been great. I really hate to sound like so over the top, but it's been a really cool experience, to have people that you could go to and get such a clear image of how to present yourself.
What's really got you really excited to be a part of TNA moving forward in 2024? Obviously, the rebrand happened right when you showed up, and just like those letters being back kind of thing, and that tie to history, everything. What's got you really excited for 2024 coming up with TNA?
I mean, for myself personally, it's just talking about, like I said, starting kind of at the bottom and knowing that I have to climb again.
Yeah.
I was at the top of a mountain for a long time, and that's great. It's great to call yourself king. But then when you look over and you realize, like, yeah, I'm at the top of this mountain, but that mountain goes way higher. You go,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to go back down so I can go climb that one. And I'm okay with going back to the bottom because the climb is the most exciting part. I'm so excited to be in a position where I get to come to work and have to put my work pants on and know I have my work cut out for me. And this company, like we are working nonstop. We have Rebellion coming up in Vegas on the 20th. Then a couple weeks later, we're going to Albany, May 3rd and 4th. 2 weeks after that, we're back in New York. It's just go, 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 and it's exciting. It's very exciting to know that I have a lot of work cut out for me, and I have a lot of opportunities to prove myself.
Right, right. How about from a company as a whole, like just from the company perspective of like what's going to happen moving forward? What are you kind of excited about for the company itself with it all?
Well, like you said, we rebranded back as TNA. I think that showed a lot of people that we're committed to kind of not necessarily changing everything, but it's like like the product is going to have a little bit of a shift, and you've seen that already. And you talk about the new talent coming in. As far as Nick Nemeth, myself, Mustafa. Um, I'm excited to see what other changers are coming, who else is coming in. Those open doors, like who's going to walk through them, what towns are we going to show up in, what cities are we going to show up in, how are these pay-per-views going to shape up. You talk about Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, all this stuff. What's going to shape up. Where am I going to fall on the cards once we get to those places. So it's very interesting. And the fact that I don't know what's going to happen
Yeah.
is very exciting. To be at a place where I'm still learning the ins and outs and who's in charge of what, and I don't necessarily know everything as soon as it's happening. As much as like there's a comfortability to that, it's like to kind of be in the dark is like, all right, well, I'm figuring this out as I go, and that's exciting.
I'm excited for you too, man. It's like it's neat to see you in a new element, and then what you said, building up like from the bottom and going up to the top. It's always cool to see that, and like hitting the reset button and going out there. It's going to be a lot of fun in the rubber match at Rebellion coming up April 20th with Josh Alexander. It's going to be a blast, dude. Vegas too. You do the bandhole girlfriend. You got a great dog and Hunter. And also you got good taste in music, so you can't beat that, Hammer. You're doing good stuff.
I see the record on the wall. I know what's up.
There you go. Yeah, you got it. Strokes for life, brother. All right, Hammer. I will see you around the bend, man. Next year, we're going to be talking about you being the face of TNA there.
Yes, sir. You take care.
All right, thanks, brother.